Hello, my most amazing and awesome artists. Welcome back to your beautiful oops, where mistakes became happy accidents and any oops became something beautiful. We learned how to turn things like a squiggle or a line into something else, and we used our art detective thinking caps and our clues to add different things called details that could tell another person what we found or what clues we found in our beautiful oops. We did that by outlining all of the paint splatter, both on the outside and on the inside. Using those thin Sharpies, you might even find something along the way if you're just outlining. So remember, everything needs to be outlined. If you are finished and you found everything you can, we are going to be working in the negative space. Boys and girls, that negative space was the white space around your oops. Some of you might have more of that than others. So what you are going to do is continue your awesome, beautiful oops in that negative space. You'll see that I continued outlining. I outlined and I outlined the outlines and I outlined the outlines of the outlines and outlines and outlines until it gave me a really cool pattern that kind of reminds me of a Zentangle. I turned my paper until I got to another spot of negative space where I could put a Zentangle pattern in. We started Zentangling at the beginning of the year with our feathers, so we should be very familiar with those Zentangle patterns. If you need any ideas of patterns to fill your negative space with, you'll have an idea sheet where you can look at those different Zentangle patterns and try some different ones in different spaces of your negative space. I'm trying a bunch of different ones that I see on the sheet. This one is a bunch of circles really close together, and then maybe for my next one I'll look and see, which one do I think would look good around the fish? Maybe I will do something that's an optical illusion. Now remember, some of the Zentangle patterns might be more difficult than others, and that's okay. Try what you can, and if you make a mistake, guess what? It's a beautiful oops, so it's no big deal. Change it into something else, because we are experts at how to do that by now. So if it doesn't quite look like the paper, don't worry about it. You can even make your own pattern. You could fill an area with hearts or polka dots or lines. It could be anything you want besides coloring it in. One thing we're not going to do in the negative space is color any spots in. We want to try to use our thin Sharpies just for details and outlines. That's what it's for. That's why it's so small. If I wanted you to color things in, I would have given you a giant Sharpie. Anyway, I want to fill all of that negative space with all different kinds of Zentangle patterns. If you want to just go with one pattern for all of the space, that's fine, but I get a little bored doing that, so I'm switching it up and picking a new pattern every corner or so. Now notice I stop at every time I touch the paint, so I only put my pattern in between in the negative space, only where there's white. I don't continue the Zentangle onto my oops. I want to leave that alone so that everybody can see all of the awesome details that I added to it and what I found. There might have been a story being told, and I don't want to overpower that by what's in my negative space. I want to add to it and really draw the attention to the middle. So that's why I'm doing all of these cool patterns on the outside. Try your best to try a few different ones. You want to fill all of it and take your time on those Zentangle patterns. Sometimes your pen might even run out. If it does, remember you can flip your paper over, give it a little scribble, and see if it starts to work. If it doesn't, I have plenty of extra Sharpies up front. But you don't want to press down hard. Please make sure you're holding your Sharpie at an angle so that that ink can flow. When you're finished filling your negative space with Zentangles, cap your Sharpie and then glue. Yep, that's right. Today, you're going to have the option to draw with glue. To do that, you got to twist your glue bottle open, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Know your glue bottle's closed when there's a white dot at the tip. If it's open, it won't have that. Then I shake it down to the bottom so that that glue can flow. Sometimes it gets all stuck on the bottom. Then I'm going to hold it so that the tip of the glue is touching my paper. Then I'm going to very carefully hold it like a Sharpie or a pencil and draw with the glue just like I would with a pencil. I don't squeeze my pencil, so I'm making sure not to squeeze the bottle too much. I'm just tipping it over and keeping it nice and steady, holding it just like a pencil or a Sharpie. I wouldn't squeeze it too hard, just a little bit so I have a good grip on it. I'm drawing it across my lines. I'm not picking all of my lines, just a few of them where maybe I didn't find anything in my beautiful oops, and maybe I want to add a little bit of sparkle to it. So I'm picking just a few of those lines that outline maybe the negative space, maybe in the Zentangle, but I'm not just putting blobs of glue. I'm making sure that they go with my beautiful oops. Maybe even I could outline a couple of my drawings like my shark here, but your glue is big. It will not fill in any tiny details, which also means you don't want to cover them up. If you're worried about drawing with glue, you either could try it first and test it out on a scrap piece of paper from the makerspace, or you could skip this part. It's up to you if you would like to do this. This is optional. I'm going over just a few lines and making sure to turn my paper with my hand very carefully as I go. If I were to drag my hand through the glue, it would mess it all up and make a big ooey gluey mess. When I think I'm done, I'm going to twist it righty-tighty to close until I see that dot on top. I wiped it off, and now the glitter fairy is going to come. The glitter fairy today is Miss Q. She can come along and drop some glitter onto your beautiful oops if you would like. You don't have to have the glitter fairy come to visit, but if you would like, she is here in our class today, and she'll have a few different colors of glitter that she can drop on top of your glue. Remember, you need to have glue in a few lines to make that glitter stick. It's super important that you're really careful with your lines and don't use too much glue, just a few little thin lines. If you do a big blob, it'll cover up your beautiful oops. Now, after I sprinkle that glitter all over the oops, then your job is going to be to spread that glitter all around. You're going to have to carefully shake it over the glitter box. What I mean by that is you're going to kind of shift your paper left, shift your paper right, but not too hard or your glue will get all messed up. I don't have anything funny to say about that. Anyway, then after that glitter gets all over on the glue and is really stuck, then you shake your paper off, kind of tap it on the bottom, tap it on the top, but never putting it together or touching it to anything else because that glue would stick to it. When I'm completely done, remember, I'm going to shake off all that glitter really well because that glitter in the box can be used for other students. So you never want to tap it on your table or on the floor or in the trash can. We're going to save it at that glitter station. When you're done and back at your table, I want you to decide which way you want your oops to be seen from. You're going to see me very, very carefully turning my oops to figure out how I want it to be shown on display. Do I want the viewer at the art show to look at it this way and maybe see my shark the right side up? Or maybe I want them to really focus on this awesome fish with all of that beautiful scales and fins. Or maybe I want it to notice my elephant or my genie lamp or the bubbles. You can play with which way you want your artwork to be shown because unfortunately we are going to have to hang it up on a wall when it's time for our art show. That's how people look at things. So once you pick which way you want it to be seen from or which way is the right way or the right side up, then you're going to sign your name in the bottom right corner of whichever way you want it. Please make sure you pick which way you think it looks best, then sign your name really small with a thin Sharpie in the bottom right corner. You can hide it if you want. Remember, artists always sign their artwork when they're finished. Just their first name is fine. You don't have to put your class code or anything else besides your first name. All right, artists, when you're finished with that and clean up your area and Sharpies, then you are going to carefully take your painting and your beautiful oops to the drying rack if it's got glue on it. If you have glitter and glue, please make sure to take it like the most important pizza you've ever delivered. Take it with 2 hands. Really make sure that you don't drop it, otherwise you'll have a big gluey mess. Take it with 2 hands to the drying rack, put it on its own level, then come back, wipe your hands with an art wipe, and wipe your table. We're not going to be using the sink today, so make sure you only use those art wipes and throw them out when you're finished. Nobody wants to use your used wipe. All right, artists, have fun today.